Righty. Okay, so yeah, first of all, do apologize for not having my actual camera on. I was setting this up kind of on a short notice because I wanted to get this episode done and out of the way because I wanted to get my thoughts on the draft. The draft. That's right. So WWE, obviously, for those that did not know or were just completely under a rock, or in my case, if your internet was taking big, massive craps over the last few days, you would probably already know that the WWE recently did their draft. So let's go ahead. Let's get all of these. I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get my thoughts out here. Just talk about this because first of all, we've got the round one. Let's talk about the first round of let's talk about the first round of draft picks here. The first most questionable pick is Becky Lynch goes. Oh, sorry. This is round. That's round one, part two. Let's go to. Hang on. I'm trying to look for it. But no, man. I mean, the first couple of picks that I know of for sure is Edge goes to Raw, SmackDown. Let's see, Jeff Hardy's going to SmackDown, and that's all that I really know. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about Becky Lynch. She's the SmackDown champion, and she is drafted to Raw. Okay. Interesting. I'll explain a little bit more the video, which I'm really hoping that the Wi-Fi holds up for the remaining time that I'm on here. The Usos get their wish and they stay on SmackDown with Roman. The bloodline is still intact and of things is gonna keep his job before how much longer is the question. Bobby Lashley stays on Raw. So no changes there. It looks like the business may be back in business. At least from the looks of things. Sasha Banks stays on SmackDown. So the only change really out of this was Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch going to Raw as the SmackDown Women's Champion, which again is a questionable decision, but I will get my thoughts in on this later on in the video. So round two picks. Seth Rollins goes to Raw. So now this Edge Rollins feud looks like will continue. King Nakamura and Rick Boogs stay on SmackDown. I really hope to see Shinsuke on TV more often. I mean more so. I mean, like with the Intercontinental Championship being defended more often. Because really that title has just kind of gone to waste at this point. Now it's just another belt on a show. Not Lance Archer. This is not AEW. Anyways, Damian Priest is going to stay on Raw. I mean, he's had himself a pretty good run over there as U.S. champ. So let's see who he'll feud with next. And Sheamus, speaking of feuds, the guy who Damian Priest was feuding with is going to SmackDown. All right. Those are some pretty good picks. Then another batch of draft picks that were made is Shayna Baszler goes to SmackDown. So that, I mean, we've seen what Shayna Baszler is capable of on Raw. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of carnage she will cause on SmackDown. Kevin Owens goes to Raw. I've seen I've seen maybe a video or two of like Kevin Owens coming out to his theme music, and I've seen the look on his face. It looks like he's just getting more and more and more and more and more frustrated and just not really enjoying his time in WWE's. Like I said, I'm kind of falling back on the teaser tweet that he posted out of Cornets to Mount Rushmore, teasing possibly he might go to AEW, but you never know. So, I mean, we'll see what Kevin Owens is going to be able to do on Raw, at least while he's still in WWE. This one I'm actually kind of interested in. Xia Li is drafted to SmackDown. She has caused so much destruction ever since she, I mean, really not just transformed herself, but like when she turned heel, she has done a spectacular job and really is making her character believable. And I really cannot wait to see what Xia Li does on SmackDown, man. That's going to be interesting. AJ Styles and Omos, they stay on Raw. And from the looks of things, they might still feud with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. So we'll just have to wait and see where that goes. Here we go. More draft picks that were made. Hang on, the dogs are barking. Are people home? No, it's just the dogs barking for absolutely no reason. Anyways, so let's talk about these next batch of draft picks. The Street Profits go back to Raw. So now I think they're still gonna feud for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Here's another interesting one. The Viking Raiders. We've not really seen a lot from the Viking Raiders, but sorry, I got a text. But anyways, I was kind of interested in I don't even know, man, but like we haven't seen the Viking Raiders a lot lately, but they're on SmackDown now, so I mean that's going to be an interesting thing to watch here. Finn Balor is going to be on Raw for the first time in, I want to say 3-4 years. Hang on one second. I got to respond to a text message. Sorry. All right. Anyways, I had to respond to a text message. It was actually kind of important, so I needed to respond to it. But anyways, Finn Balor going to Raw, that's actually a pretty good one. So Ricochet being drafted to SmackDown, I'd say that's actually a pretty solid pick right there. So we'll see what Mr. Ricochet does on SmackDown. Here we go, round 5 of draft picks. So it looks like Cesaro is going to be staying on SmackDown. He's actually been doing pretty well as a singles competitor there, so we'll see how he does. Alexa Bliss stays on Raw. So far, I mean, for Alexa Bliss, I feel like she's been holding up pretty well on her own when it comes to this character that she's really adapted to within over a year. So I mean, she's actually been doing a very fantastic job on Raw. Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza are going to be going over to SmackDown. Sorry, I was looking at it once again. Text messages. I haven't really seen a lot of Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, but I mean, with them tagging together, I feel like that's actually, I mean, that's a good combination. I mean, uh, like I said, I mean, they're both really good competitors in the ring. They both have showed it as singles competitors, and even when they were tagging with other wrestlers. So, I mean, I'm really interested in seeing them go to SmackDown and see what they're able to do there. Karrion Kross stays on Raw. So, I mean, Karrion Kross, I mean, like I'm kind of questioning his time over in the main roster because they feel like I feel like they've really toned down Karrion a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit. I mean, that's just me though. But all right, let's talk about the final round of draft picks. These are extremely questionable, and I'm not a big fan of this. Let's start out with the one that I feel like people are talking about quite a bit. The most recent uh, addition to WWE, Mr. Gable Stevenson, the Olympic gold medalist and NCAA champion, is drafted to Raw. First of all, we have not seen Gable Stevenson compete in a WWE ring. Like, not once. Not on either Raw or SmackDown. Not in NXT. Not in 205 Live. Heck, not even on WWE Main Event. If anybody really cares about that show. But anyways, Gable Stevenson to Raw, questionable. I don't even know who Rich Holland is, but he's drafted to SmackDown. Anyways, moving on. Carmella. Okay, so these are another two picks that I actually am kind of interested in. Carmella, finally, after so many years of seeing her on SmackDown, she's going to Raw. So I'm actually really curious as to what they're going to do with Carmella on Raw. Maybe they might push her a little bit, maybe to become a Raw Women's Champion. I mean, I'm not trying to set the bar really high for her, but I mean, I want to set it high enough to where she can excel and maybe put herself in the championship in the title picture. I'm curious to see where that goes. Sami Zayn actually has been doing pretty good. I mean, I've kind of grown to love the character that Sami Zayn is really putting on, but he stays on SmackDown. All right. Anyways, let's talk about this whole deal of the SmackDown Women's title on Raw and the Raw Women's title on SmackDown. So Charlotte Flair was recently drafted to SmackDown, which that is, I mean, those two moves are they're just so questionable, to be honest with you. I have not seen anything like that since, I don't know, last year, because you had the Street Profits, who were the Raw tag team champs at the time. And then there was another batch. I mean, there was another tag team that were SmackDown tag team champs. I can't even remember who they were. They might have been the Usos. It might have been. I can't even remember anymore. But the Street Profits and the other tag team that were the SmackDown tag champs at the time, the tag teams swapped belts. So whoever the SmackDown tag champs were at the time of the draft last year, they became the Raw tag team champs, and the Street Profits became the SmackDown tag champs because of the belt. I am actually really curious if Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair are going to have to do a belt swap When it comes down to this Friday night, I have no clue, but if they don't switch belts, that's going to be questionable. But anyways, my dogs are going off on something. Whoa, something. I don't even know if I'm. Is this still working? Okay, good. It's still working. But anyways, yeah, I don't even know. Oh, it was the controller. Jeez, it was the controller that kind of that fell out of the USB port. But anyways, we'll see how these draft picks do on the main roster. Some of them that are making their first start on the main roster, guys like Rich Holland, Xia Lee, for instance. I'm actually interested in seeing how they do as far as the Raw title, the Raw Women's title on SmackDown, and the SmackDown Women's title on Raw. I'm curious if there's actually going to be a belt swap in arrangement. I don't know yet, but we're just going to have to find out maybe Friday night tonight or on SmackDown. But anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of Grand Slam. Want to thank you guys a lot for watching. If you liked it, and if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And that about does it for me.